Hello, and welcome to today's broadcast of The Future is Hybrid. HPE, Intel, and Arrow equip partners with solutions for VDI. I'm your host, Katie Bavoso from the Channel Company. The global COVID-19 pandemic accelerated digital transformation and changed the way we work forever. Now, business gets done both inside and outside the office, and the future of work is hybrid. Even after the pandemic, research shows that up to 30% of the U.S. workforce will continue to work remotely at least one or more days a week. This makes virtual desktop infrastructure more important than ever as businesses continue to adapt to the ever-changing needs of customers and employees. HPE has the Intel Powered VDI solutions your customers are looking for, and Arrow can help you equip customers with those solutions and related services. For more on this, I'm now joined by David Bartley, Optane Channel Development Manager at Intel, Adele Hossein, Intel Solutions Business Manager for HPE, and Teresa DeConia, Supplier Manager of Arrow. Welcome all, and thanks so much for joining me. Let's get started and jump into our first segment, VDI Needs and Business Value. Adele, you're going to join me for this one. Obviously, we know the pandemic changed the way we do business, but VDI isn't new. What's been driving the growth of VDI over the last decade, and how did the last 2 years accelerate that growth?
Well, thanks, Katie. Thanks for having me here. It's interesting how COVID changed so many ways we transact business today, as you mentioned earlier. But prior to COVID, security, bring your own device, centralized management, and even mergers and acquisitions were the major drivers of growth of VDI. Now, those things are still relevant today. However, due to COVID, the last 2 years has accelerated VDI adoption to provide users a way to work with company data securely from their home.
So tell me, what challenges or concerns are businesses facing now that more and more employees are working hybrid schedules? And why is VDI the answer to these challenges?
Well, Katie, I think you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned about 30% of the workforce will continue to work from home. Some of the business challenges with a remote workforce on hybrid schedules have been how to allow employees access to company data and provide a flexible work environment that's both secure and accessible from anywhere, at any time, on any device.
And going from there, why is selling solutions for VDI an important revenue opportunity for channel providers? We can't bury the lead. We have to talk about the money.
Sure, absolutely. Well, you probably heard the saying, strike while the iron is hot. As a channel provider, this allows you to be the subject matter expert and provide solutions to these customers who are navigating the new norm. From selling the underlying infrastructure to implementing best practices to providing services needed to make the solution work. Now, you have the opportunity to become that trusted advisor.
So how should partners approach their customers about implementing VDI solutions, and how can HPE and Arrow help with that?
Well, partners should position VDI to their customers as a flexible and secure way for employees to access the data from anywhere. Now, VDI is a very complicated platform for new companies to size and set up correctly. HPE has the expertise that they can be leveraged by the partner at both the pre and post-sale stages of customer engagements. So I would highly advise engaging with your Arrow account manager and HPE to get on a call with the customer in the early stages of the sale.
Let's talk about the solutions. What solutions does HPE offer for VDI, and what makes them stand out from competing solutions?
So I'm grateful that you asked, Katie. HPE has a broad portfolio of servers that can address VDI customer requirements, no matter the size, use case, or even industry. From small customer office environments all the way up to very large hybrid cloud data environments, HPE offers Intel-based servers that will fit your needs. And Arrow can provide the required support to help you and your clients right-size the solution. For example, for Main Street compute needs, we offer the HPE ProLiant line with models like the DL360 and DL380. For enterprise purposes, we offer the HPE Synergy line. And for storage, we offer the HPE Nimble, Primera, and Simplicity lines. In fact, for cloud, HPE now offers an HPE GreenLake VDI as a service solution. This is one major area that HPE stands out from the other hardware vendors, in my opinion. It provides you with a fully managed service that allows customers to leverage an OpEx solution, which allows them, in turn, to have an on-site, fully managed private cloud where they pay for desktop usage on a monthly basis at a price that's cheaper than the big name cloud providers.
Very nice. That's a hard sell right there. Thank you so much, Adele, for your time. We're going to move on to segment 2 now. Arrow, adding value to HPE and VDI. Teresa, welcome once again. Tell me, how does Arrow make managing HPE VDI related solutions easier for partners?
Thank you so much. Thanks for the time today. So Arrow has been a partner with HPE and Intel over 25 years. So the process is down. We know what we're doing. We have technical engineers that provide end-to-end support, and we can do customer demos and POCs to ensure solution works in the end user's environment.
I love that partnership. Very, very lengthy. The two of you are right next to each other on my screen, so I'm picturing you high-fiving from across the universe right now. So let's move on from there. How does Arrow help HPE bring its solutions for VDI to customers?
Well, we offer design and deployment integrated solutions and bundles. Our engineers can work hand in hand with the partners to come up with a solution that works best for the end user. And those, obviously, they can put together POCs and demo environments to help as well.
So we know there's plenty of choices in the channel, but why should channel providers turn to Arrow for HPE solutions and services? And what value does Arrow add to them?
Well, to start, we have a very large HPE team that includes supplier managers, channel managers. We also have inside sales specialists that know every process that HPE has like the back of their hand. Supplier managers, we work closely with HPE to have and Intel to make sure that our strategies align and go to market. And we have planning, operations, tools, marketing strategists. So we just have a really big team that works with the channel partners to ensure that they have everything they need to work with HPE.
Moving on from there, Teresa, HPE and Intel have a strong vendor alliance, especially when it comes to VDI solutions. So let's talk about the Intel partners. How does Arrow support them?
Well, we work really closely with Intel. We have a whole team that focuses directly with Intel. They have supplier managers, marketing strategists that work closely to the go-to-market to make sure that all the strategies align and that they are connected with Intel to provide those same solutions to the partners.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And speaking of Intel, we're now going into segment 3, Intel Powering VDI. And David, we're going to bring you in for this particular topic. Thanks so much for waiting. Last but definitely not least. So tell me, we all know that Intel sells processors, but can you talk to us about Intel's 3rd gen Xeon Scalable platform and how it improves VDI workload versus previous generations?
Yeah, great question, Katie. So I think we should start at the top of the stairs with what actually is a platform, right? So as you mentioned, everybody knows Intel sells processors, but when you look under the hood of a server, Intel is so much more than that. So Intel today sells CPUs, memory, storage. We're getting into GPUs very soon, Ethernet, and of course, FPGAs. So when you take these adjacency products and you put them together to make a total solution, you're creating a platform solution that is best in class. Now, within our platform, 2 areas that are very important to VDI is, of course, our transition from 2nd gen Cascade Lake to 3rd gen Ice Lake. So from the previous gen to this gen, we moved from 14 nanometer to a 10 nanometer architecture, which translated to a 20% IPC improvement per core. We also increased the core count from 28 to 40. So when we look at our top of the line 8280 from last gen versus our 8380 from this gen, we're seeing on average a 46% performance improvement. Now, of course, our Optane memory, which we'll get into, helps save significantly on the memory level as well, to where when we look at VDI solutions, we're able to do 2 things. 1, get more VDI instances per node at a cheaper VDI instance per instance.
So you teed up this question. You mentioned a big differentiator for Intel's 3rd gen platform is your 2nd generation of Intel Optane memory. But how does this technology help reduce VDI costs?
Yeah, so what we're using this Optane memory is basically in a way that you've been utilizing storage for 20 years, and that's tiering it. So when we talk about tiered storage, it's really a no-brainer conversation, right? We build out every SAN, every NAS, every software-defined storage solution uses at least a 2, probably 3-tiered storage architecture. And the reason we do this is because it's the best cost to performance ratio for your price of spend versus the performance you expect, right? All we are doing now is taking this tiered storage solution you've been doing for 20 years and bringing it to the memory layer, to where now, instead of paying for all this expensive DRAM, you will only require DRAM for the latency that requires DRAM, and everything else can be in a cheaper media, such as Optane memory.
So how does this tiered memory solution that you've been talking about with Intel Optane memory compare to a standard DRAM only VDI solution?
Yeah, great question. So it really comes to 2 factors, right? One, price, and the other one, performance. So when we talk about price, the difference is pretty mind-blowing. So at a terabyte density, we're seeing a 42% cost savings when we tier with Optane memory versus DRAM alone. And that story only gets better as we go into higher density. So as at 2 terabytes, we're seeing a 46% cost savings. And because memory is such a big piece of the overall VDI spend, we typically will see the server level cost reductions in the realm of 20 to 25%. Now, when it comes to performance, you will see a difference in performance with a tiered memory architecture. So typically we'll see a performance degradation of maybe 2 to 5%, sometimes up to 7. But for most cases, it's a negligible difference in performance to get a 25% reduction in your overall server costs.
The numbers don't lie. So David, what VDI software and hardware platforms support Optane memory?
Yeah, well, the great point is if you're running VDI, it's probably supported by Optane memory. So no matter if you're running Horizon View, if you're running Citrix, that is going to be supported. And of course, any of the hardware platforms you're exploring for that solution too, such as Azure Stack, right? Thinking about Nutanix. All of these different hardware platforms are still supported by Optane memory. So no matter how you plan to deploy, Optane memory is going to be supported.
So David, how should channel partners position this solution to customers? Talking about it here, it sounds really exciting, but when you need to have that high level conversation, how exactly should partners go about that?
Absolutely, Katie. So, the last couple of years have been very hard on our customers, right? We are trying to stretch budgets further now more than ever. And so when we go in with the cost saving story of what Optane memory allows us to do, it really captures the attention of our customers. So when we're trying to reduce costs, being able to save 25% at the server level is going to be very attractive to your customer. And in many cases, the difference we save in hardware, we can ultimately pay for the software licensing. So going in from a cost saving standpoint is going to be really attractive to your customer.
David, thank you so much. That brings us into our last question in this webinar. And Teresa, we're going to go back to you for it. What is the value overall of the Intel, HPE, and Arrow partnership to channel providers?
Thanks, Katie. Navigating VDI solutions is not easy. There are several complex facets from developing architecture, pricing, to post-sale support. And HPE, Intel, and Arrow have the knowledge and market expertise to guide the partner from start to finish.
Thank you so much, Teresa, David, Adele, for joining me today. That brings us to the end of our webinar, but thank you so much. And thank you to those of you at home for watching today. If you'd like to learn more, you can simply visit the web address on your screen. Once again, I'm Katie Bavoso. Thanks for watching.